this is what I live for, people. This is what I live for. It is so refreshing every single time to do one of these cinematic showcases. Even from like the very beginning, it's given me an adrenaline rush. From Archmage, which I don't recommend watching, by the way, even until now. Still, same feeling. It's the whole reason why I do this is because of these type of videos. Why am I pointing at the table? So I'm just going to give you valuable information, all condensed, about my most difficult shots, if there are any problems I ran into, maybe if there's any troubleshooting that I did, how I plan this out, and then lastly, pretty much if there's anything I would change about this video or anything I need to improve on going forward. That way when you're watching, you can learn along with me and figure out how I troubleshooted different techniques, or if you just want to laugh along with my struggles, that is okay too. Okay, opening shot. I didn't want any kind of build up this time. I just wanted to go straight to the action. For the introduction in general, I always try to start off with the box art, because sometimes people in the past would ask me like, hey, I don't know what this is. So I figured an opening shot where I just introduce the box and the box art would at least give people a better premise that this is a board game that I'm showcasing. So what's hard though is figuring out a different way every single time, or a unique way to showcase the box. I mean, in reality, it is a box. So this time I decided to do a little camera magic and mix in 4 different shots. So the first shot was me putting the box right in front, and then the box splits in 2. Well, technically there's just one right behind it, and then I moved that forward, so that's the second shot. Third shot, as they're coming back together, I'm putting the tiles in between those 2 boxes. And then the fourth shot is just pushing off those 2 boxes in order to reveal the map tiles in the middle. Combine all that and you get this. Now technically it was 5 shots if you consider the spin shot part of that sequence too. Now next I would say was the second most difficult shot in this entire video sequence, and that was a handheld shot where I'm holding the camera on a slider, aka a towel, and just dragging it across with one hand, and then my other hand is just picking up the tokens and then dragging it in a line as the shot is progressing. Because in reality, I'm always trying to find a different way to showcase components. These are cardboard tokens, so just like the box, it's really hard to make them interesting. Miniatures, on the other hand, are super easy because they by themselves look great. That's why with the tokens, I wanted to introduce them a little differently this time. And what was hard about that is figuring out that hand-eye coordination to hold the camera with one hand and use steady momentum with one hand as you are using constant power to drag that across the table. Because if you start and stop, then you're gonna see that the camera just starts and stops, and it looks bad. So you also want to make sure that you're keeping autofocus off, because when you put it in manual focus, then you only have one plane, assuming that you are moving in a steady line. You only have one plane where that area and that zone is going to be in focus. So as I'm pulling it across, if you have autofocus on, it's going to go in and out of focus. So you'll see blurry and you'll see clear. You'll see blurry and you'll see clear as it's going from the token to like the black table to the next piece, which is probably a different color, and it's not going to be in the exact same plane. So better off to just put that in manual focus. I think it took me a total of 12 tries to nail that attempt. Now, as we are progressing in the video and progressing in the story, what I'm doing is doing the setup as you would normally if you are playing the game. So now the next part is when all the resources start getting introduced one by one. But what I thought was really cool was that there's this cardboard punch out for the gold tokens and for the culture tokens, and I liked what it did to the lens when it had the little holes. It looked like kind of like a honeycomb. So I used that to transition as each resource was being quickly introduced from black, red, blue, and then the rest of the tokens from there. So all I did was I lifted it up to the frame and then took it out. Lifted up to the frame and took it out. And then when you merge all that together, this is what you get. By the way, have you ever tried to mount a mini on a plastic ring with one hand? That takes some serious hand-eye coordination. Half the time when I'm filming, it's not me doing anything crazy. It's honestly me spending so much time to nail a 1-second shot. Nope, nope, nope. Case in point was sliding Mulan in frame and in focus. I did that before with the Marquise cat in the root video, and that one just ended up being a lot easier because I think the surface, it was just wood. It was a meeple. But in this time, I guess the plastic doesn't really work well with this surface that I have. I tried to accurately measure my power and direction, but I don't know how many times I did it, but I did it until my camera battery died, so I just stuck with what I got. And then in order to make up for it, I had a bunch of negative space there and just filled it in with the army that she had. which by the way, that army is also the army you start with in the game. So everything kind of makes sense. It always flows. This is the setup. These are the actual pieces that you get. So this is the story that I'm trying to weave throughout my entire Beetle sequence. And then a few seconds later, I start introducing the different civilizations that you can play with in the game. And I'm always trying to add a different perspective on them, always trying to film them a little differently to add some dynamicism to the video. And then finally, when you reach the Japanese samurai, I thought it'd be cool if he was like slicing into the frame using both a transition and also a sound effect. And the sound effect that I used was it was a paper cutter that would just sped up 500 times and multiple paper cutters. And the rest is pretty straightforward from there, from the rest of the video. What I would change for next time, or at least improve on, is nailing my exposure. I get spoiled with the 1DX. I always think I can pull up the shadows and pull up the blacks in post. So when I see it in camera, I'm just like, I'll be fine. I could just pull it in post like I would in a photo, but in video is totally different than what you would capture in photo. So for next time, I definitely need to make sure lighting and exposure is perfectly aligned in camera before I go into post. I actually want to do like a range to see how much I can push ISO on the 1DX before I start introducing grain. So definitely need to work on that for next time. Let me know if you liked it or if there's anything else you want to see in the BTS going forward. Also, make sure you are subscribed because I have 2 more videos coming out for Monumental. That is the tutorial and also the review coming very, very soon, along with the 10 video campaign that I'm now starting as of today. So these 10 videos are all designed to help you in photography, in videography. All of them are designed to improve your content overall, so you don't want to miss out on those. Until then, I will see you all tomorrow.